Thanks for indulging me in being a living sanctuary. I was really struck by how important that is in unity, that even though we come to a sanctuary, a lot of what Chris said, home is with the people you are, might not be a building, and the living sanctuary really is the living Christ in us. And that's definitely the message of Christianity. That's a message of mainstream Christianity too, the Christ in you. And for us, the difference is that there's nothing you have to do. You do not have to be saved. You do not even have to be different. You are right now inherently worthy. There is a piece of you, a part of you that already is. Okay? You already are a living sanctuary. And half of my trouble comes, all of my trouble comes when I forget it. When unworthiness comes up and I behave badly, and then I feel even worse. Does that sound familiar? Has anybody ever done that? Daily, right? Now, God, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. In a way, that should probably be, God, prepare me to know that I already am a sanctuary. I am already pure. I am already holy. God knows we've all been tried, right? We've been tried. We made it this far. And we are already true. Thanksgiving is a good thing to add in, being grateful for every moment. And then we transform into a living sanctuary. Into a living sanctuary for you, meaning me and you. Because God is already there. Here's something from the Gospel of Matthew, which I think says the same thing. Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust consume, and where thieves break in and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust consumes, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. For some reason, I really love that phrase, and I say it a lot. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. I guess it reminds me that what I value is me, and that's where my heart is what I value. I think I also like it because it means my heart is a treasure to me. Now, I want to read something from Meister Eckhart, who is a Christian. I wrote down the date, but I think it's around the 1600s. He was a mystic. I have to double check that. 1400s or 1600s, maybe even 1500s. It was on the other page that I forgot to copy. But it's interesting how throughout time, mystics get it, and they say it over and over again. So I'm going to say the same thing to you over and over again through the words of different people so that we get it. Maybe listening to that song didn't buzz your heart the way it did me, but listening to a bunch of teenagers in a circle sing that just kind of went right into me, pierced me like a heart, a beam of love. And maybe Meister Eckhart's words will work for you. First, there is a light in the soul that is uncreated and uncreatable. Eckhart is precise. This is not what the English language calls the soul, but some essence in the soul that lies at the very center of consciousness. It's not, our soul, whatever, everybody has ideas of what our soul is, what heaven is, why we're here. We all have our own philosophy, and sometimes it intersects with other people, and sometimes it doesn't. We know what we believe. And we have an idea of what our soul is, and the point that I am making is that in unity, there is a part that is God, that is the Christ, we call it the Christ within. You might not be aware of it, I know that I'm not always operating from it. It is not always driving my bus. But it is in every single human being, every single sentient being, I'm going to just say throughout the universe. The universe is there. So that's why this teaching is so important, and why the unity push is that it's already there. And why that is different than than mainstream Christianity says you have to be saved. I need to be saved all the time, but I can be saved right here inside me. I can be saved just by knowing that I am saved, right? That's the point. I'm already saved. The light in the soul that is uncreated and uncreatable, unconditioned, universal, deathless. A divine core which cannot be separated from God. Always there. Now, let me say why I just want to tell you a little bit about my experience last weekend. I like to joke and remind everybody that I slept on the floor. I'll probably say it 5 more times, but it's on the floor. But the truth is, I was so delighted to be there. It was a smaller retreat than I thought. There were 11 kids. 3 of our kids went, 3 of the most awesome kids in the whole universe, who are our uniteens who traveled with me. And the team of 4 adults who put this retreat on was amazing. They basically taught the kids who are uniteen, which is ages 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade, the eye of the storm, which is a fairly adult concept. Nothing and no one is against me. Do you know how hard that is to get? I mean, every day I can find 5 people against me if I try. Nothing and no one is against me, and that really is our core of unity teaching. They're teaching the uniteens, and so the leaders teach the content, the kids do stuff, and the things they say, just the things they said blew me away. And I got so renewed with, yes, unity is the bomb. The unity is the bomb because because all over churches all over the country, mostly the country, some places all over the world, kids are learning this stuff. I would have had a much easier high school if I had known that no one and nothing was against me. I was really good at being miserable and seeing how much everybody was against me, my mom, my dad, my 7 brothers and sisters, all of the nuns, the coaches, the boy that didn't ask me to a dance. Come on. I was really good at that as a teenager. I really thought that things were stacked against me. And I started to get out of that in college, and then because I discovered psychology, and I'm glad that I discovered that I could change myself through psychology. But I know that I had a mystical connection to God. I was lucky. I really did feel like I had an eternal soul. I knew that. I was lucky. But then I really got it when I discovered unity and A Course in Miracles and a bunch of stuff all at the same time. That was in the 80s when there was a whole lot of new thought, new age things everywhere. And I found unity. So I just got so excited thinking, yes, it really is worth it for us to keep creating this on Sunday and get more kids, get more families, to make our lives that much better. It's like night and day. How I remember when I thought things were against me, to once I learned that I actually had the living Christ within me, and that I was worthy, that it was real, and that it changed everything. The difference between walking through the park and walking through the swamp with alligators. park is more fun. Or if you like alligators, walking through the swamp is fun. But so here is what I want to ask y'all to do. I'm going to go on a sabbatical in April. Roland and I are going on sabbatical because it is a two-person team. I mean, it takes a lot of him to get all this together. It takes a lot of him all the time to support me so that I can be up here and make some kind of sense instead of being a weeping mass of female whatever. That was funnier in my head. He's just thinking, yeah, it's not funny. But. Anyway, we are going on a sabbatical in April. So for the first 4 Sundays, I have other people scheduled to enlighten you. And here's what you can do for me so that I can truly relax. You can come here. And you can bring your friends here. You can keep the fire burning. I'm just not throwing spaghetti on the wall and see who is sick. I have some good people coming to talk to you. One of the all-time favorites, Jonas Magrum, is a guy who came here before I was here. People love him. He's a musician, and he gives a beautiful talk. And he's good. He likes coming here. Kimberly Busby's going to do a talk. Zach's going to do a talk. And this would be good. I'm asking as a actual personal favor, and also as to show an example of Sabbath that is often really good to stop yourself and give yourself a rest when you need to. And I can tell that I need to stop and give myself a rest. But the really wonderful, like I was feeling tired, but the thing that made me so excited was going on that retreat, and like I could feel myself still being tired, but I was also so excited because of how awesome the truth that we teach in Unity is, and how important it is. Like, I really have a fire in me. It's really important that we keep going, and we spread this to more kids. That's what our meetings the second Sunday are about, and why we come here. Now, that's my pitch. I'm going to do it next week too, a little bit of that. The other interesting thing I think about this idea and the scripture, there's a teaching in Buddhism called impermanence. And if you've studied any Buddhism, it's a basic teaching. Now, Buddhism teaches impermanence like this. It is the thought or the fact that nothing is permanent. And as one of my teachers, Pema Chodron, says, well, impermanence seems okay. It sort of has a little bit of a rub when you think, well, what about my impermanence? Well, that's the ultimate rub, that, yeah, we are impermanent. And the Buddhism teaching is all about recognizing the impermanence of all things, because when we recognize it, then we can be calm with it. Now, I have noticed that when I was younger, I used to love every new thing. I used to love every year a new classroom, a new teacher, new people. Yay! I love that. When I noticed when I was about 25 and I'd start a new job, instead of, yay, this is great, all new people, I started to feel a little nervous. I liked the same things. And I was like, wow, how come this feels nervous to me? I thought I always used to just, every new people, new places, that was great. Well, wherever that hit you, the practicing impermanence with equanimity is a lot like becoming a living sanctuary. It's kind of the same thing from a different approach. To me, the interesting thing about Buddhism is a lot about noticing what is really noticing what is without your illusion or without what you're making up or without what you're projecting. Noticing what is and finding that when you really don't fight it, it's so much better. You know, when you're okay with what is, it's so much better. And Christianity a lot of times has to do with kind of the spark, being saved or recognizing the Christ in a way, the golden light, which is two different ways to approach it, but it's the same thing ultimately, I believe. You know, the teaching from me teaches me the same thing. That being peaceful and allowing what is the same thing as becoming a living sanctuary of allowing the Christ self of you, that inviolate part of you that already is God, to just be. My prayer every Sunday is that I could be an instrument that I can shove my ego aside and really let truth speak through me. I'm still on earth, so there's still a lot of Cynthia in here when I'm speaking. My saving grace, I believe, is that I'm still a student, so I'm telling myself. You know, everything I say is lessons for me to learn. But it is a good prayer. Let me be an instrument. Let me be an instrument. That's that state that we want. We want to be an instrument so that the Christ within you, or that beautiful golden knowingness of worthiness, of your godness, can just be there working. I love all the stories of the mystical people when they talk about when they're overtaken by that energy, and they don't have to worry anymore. Like the God energy is working through them. Back in the land of not totally God energy yet, we have tools. Unity has a lot of tools. Meditation. Take some time every day to be silent. Get yourself some guided meditation. There's so much now. Really, there's a lot of stuff on the internet. If you ever go to unity.org, just today I went to unity.org. There's a March prayer service. I usually use parts of the prayer service in my opening prayer. I take a little bit of it. You can find that. The daily word that Dan read, that's a good thing. I have it on my phone. You can get it on your phone. You can get it in the bookstore. You can get it delivered to you. It's a great tool. And for people who like to process, I put a handout on the red, or not the red table, the plaid table. The table behind the chairs. This is called the Judge Your Neighbor mini worksheet, and this is called the facilitation guide. This is the work of Byron Katie. If you're a processy person like me, you can't just go from, here I am, okay, Christ, I'm an empty vessel. Go ahead. Okay. I'm waiting. Am I glowing yet? Am I floating yet? Okay. Maybe not this Sunday. Maybe next Sunday. This kind of stuff really works for me. Try the mystical route, try praying, and also this is some of the best stuff ever. You can just guide yourself through it if you're interested. The Judge Your Neighbor mini worksheet, because you get to use judgments about people in your life, and you find out how it's just your projection, and it lifts you up. It clears away a little space so that the beautiful light in the soul that is uncreated and uncreatable can take over. So help yourself to the worksheet. Help yourself to Daily Word. Go online, get all the good stuff, and come more than you think you want to in April. Let's take an offering for unity. I invite you to take your tithe, your love offering in your hand, and